Hey everybody, it's time for a new game. It's been a little while since we've done a new series, and today we're going to be playing Convoy. Convoy, a game that's been billed or advertised as a mashup between FTL and Mad Max, just a roguelike where you're around in the post-apocalyptic wilderness in your vehicles trying to restore your spaceship. Does it exactly live up to that billing? No, not necessarily. It has a lot of elements of, say, a post-apocalyptic world, and it does have a lot of elements of FTL, but it stands on its own as a pretty good game. So we're going to be playing it for a little bit here, and I did do a previous recording of this, which unfortunately the audio is terrible due to user error, where I had two tin cans right next to the microphone, so there was a bunch of canny reverb, and you don't want that. So we're going to be starting over here with a new run here. Now, some things just to go straight into basic systems here. You do have some different support vehicles that you can unlock, but you'll notice the MCV is always there. And there's some different varieties that you can have. Actually, there's one that we did unlock apparently, but we're not going to do that one yet. We're just going to be playing with the Spooky 3 or the Spook 3. I don't know if I'm very excited about that, so we'll call it the Vault Dweller instead. Fat Monkey over here is a Bobcat AE. It has a cannon, and it also has a little support module. And then we have the Bobcat MK2, which has guns. So you have your parts, you have your fuel. We can play easy, medium, or hard. I've heard some people complain about how hard this game is because you can't necessarily win with it the first time all the way through. As you can see, there's a lot of unlocks to be had, but that's not what we're doing here today. I like games that are hard, but we're going to start on easy just to see if we can make it through, make it a little bit of a longer look here. So here's Convoy. The basic story here, and this story does change a little bit as you play each time here. After flying through an asteroid field, your spaceship was forced to make an emergency landing on the planet of Ormec Prime due to critical damage to primary systems. The captain has ordered you to traverse the planet to replace some parts. Obtaining these parts will allow the spaceship to continue its mission. So you're out to get parts, like the blue R99X chip, the hyperdrive stabilizers, the multicellulose infused ethanol, and the self-sealing stem bolts. Now, each of these parts, and there's a lot of pop culture references to this game. I'm not big on them, but you'll probably see them and enjoy them as you look. So if I recognize them, I may say something, I may not. But I do have to assume here that because you have to go out here and fix everything, that you are the pilot of the ship that was a moron that couldn't fly through an asteroid field. So there's different quests for different parts. It's not the same parts every time here, but there's different factions that you have to deal with on the planet as well. Very convenient that you land on a planet that you have that has the resources to fix your ship. But privateers, raiders, and Torvek, they're all hostile. They all want to kill you. But here's kind of the basics of the game. You have your map. It's procedurally generated. It's different every time. You have different points of interest like a camp, which are shops, and they're dispersed throughout the area, and you can revisit them multiple times. And then you have different objectives that will be different distances away, and I'm not sure which one's the best to go to. The R99X chip always has a fight involved with it, so we're not necessarily going to do that because it's a tough boss fight. Usually what I like to do here is to go to the camp first, so that's what we're going to do. Now you can go to different topographies, and you'll notice it takes more fuel and you go slower as you go through different areas. But but this is kind of the meat and potatoes of the game here. You drive around with your vehicles, you get random events here, you go to different little beacons, and you see what you can do. So it's a formula. In that sense, it's a lot like a lot of roguelikes, and to an extent it's like FTL as well. But as we get to the combat, you'll see that things are pretty different here. So you see a few transport vehicles and the difference radio to them. We're part of the KGL trading company. We're about to deliver some shipments. My logistics software, the bloody fool, and how to sleep without any fuel. Oh my god, that's a lot of fuel. That is actually a whole lot of fuel. Let's see if we can help them out. 40 fuel. After you're finished transferring fuel, everybody rummages through and you get your reward. Oh wow, we get a light MG and a buzzsaw. So those are just equipment here. I'll be honest, that was not worth the 40 fuel. The buzzsaw's a good melee weapon. The light MG, I'll at least be able to equip my other vehicle with the gun, but I'm at 25 fuel now, so I'm going to need to watch it. I'm going to need to stick to the roads maybe a little more than I'd like, but we're going to go to the camp. Let's see here. Strange ticking noise. When you check it out, it seems to be a fuel pressure regulator. Let's fix it. So that sucks. So just random event right away is an inefficient use of fuel and loss of parts as well. Okay, you spot several cruddy drawn signs warning people to keep out. Some of them depict mines. Let's enter a supposed minefield and fight the raiders. And they're just bluffing. So we're actually going to get into combat here pretty early. So combat is a little different when you just have two vehicles with you, and the strength of your opponents aren't necessarily comparable to how close you are to the start. There's some different factors in it, but you're going to see right away is that This is not FTL style combat. This is much more just strategic here. And I'm going to actually try and go for a little bit more focus firing, although my vehicle's range is not great. So let me just go ahead and do this real quick. Alright, so after the slight interruption there, I mean, it's paused anyway, but we can just actually take a moment to just talk a little bit about the combat here, because like I said, it's very different from FTL, and you get a little bit of a flavor here. You do have your main ship. It doesn't have any guns on its own, but you can fire an EMP like this, and that can be very useful for environmental hazards, which you'll see here in just a little bit. Your other vehicles have range. You can move them around by right-clicking, but you can target individual ships the same way just by moving them around. So it's not like FTL where you have your one ship and you're stationary and you have your crew managing parts. And that's where I think the FTL comparison is a little disingenuous, or it's people just trying to call any roguelike an FTL game. I mean, that's marketing in the end, which isn't bad, but you can see my ship is getting beat the crap out of it. One of my first goals from a store is going to be just to get a different part here. Now, the other thing that you can do is actually ram, and I'm going to attempt to ram here. It does damage to my own vehicle. And you see these little green bars and red bars there. That has to do with the size of the vehicle. If your vehicle is larger, you can actually ram and move people over, which is an important strategy, especially when you get environmental hazards like that skull down there. If you see exclamation marks, that means it's something that can do damage to you. If you see skulls, that means it will kill you. So you don't want to actually die this early. Although I'm taking a lot of damage, but these early fights, when you only have two little things in your convoy with you, it can get really tough. And that's where I guess some of the complaints about the difficulty of the game are legitimated. At least in that you get punished really hard if you lose another part of your convoy. Like, it's really tough to recover if you just have somebody bite the dust. That was a really long kind of mesa area here. So you can see I've taken a lot of damage already. But it's just 2 versus 1 now. I have some better equipment to actually equip, so it shouldn't be too terrible. But once again, here's our environmental hazards. There's not a lot yet. This is actually a pretty easy battle, all things considered, but combat does take a little bit longer, too. So let's see if we can pin him in. We can EMP as well. If we just stop firing right there, he'd run into the rocks and die. I guess very Mad Max style, but no, that's not what we're doing. Alright, so 97 parts. I'm going to be calling it scrap for a while just because it's like FTL, but there's your camp. You'll learn to love those little blue huts. Now the camp screen. Very important area because you can equip equipment. Shocker. So we'll get back to actually that in just a minute. You can do repairs, and repairs are also mightily important. But the other thing is that you can shop. And this is a very important shop because we're going to be wanting to come back here. The repair drone is very good. The EMP mine layer is useful, but more importantly is that we can get the Hyper Eagle, which is another vehicle here. So I'm actually going to sell the Buzzsaw. The reason I'm selling the Buzzsaw is because it does improve a retractable weapon that adds extra damage to a ramming attack, which is very important. But if you look at my vehicles, and let's return to the camp here real quick before we buy, you can upgrade different things like handling, which is your speed, armor, health, range, mine guard, because there's landmines that you hit. You can upgrade all those things. Right now, it's very difficult to get rams in for vehicles that are very fast. So we're not going to concern ourselves so much with that yet, so that gives us some of the extra that we need. I still don't have a lot for fuel, so we're going to be doing a little bit of farming, but it's very important to go to a camp and get another vehicle early if you can. Now that's where easy is a lot easier because you start with enough parts to actually make that move. And we're not going to have that luxury on higher difficulties, but that's why I'm kind of starting out over here. Even then, I'm not doing so hot. It's like the other recording I made was... it didn't start off so well either, but you stabilize, and that's kind of what we're going to have to do here. So one of the strategies is that you don't just have to leave the camp and never come back, which is really your FTL, the rebel fleet's always chasing you. You don't have that pressure. The pressure you have is just random encounters like this. Several vehicles approaching the surrounding streets. Get ready. This is going to end in tears. That's nice. Flippin' heck. So led by some blonde woman who's going to kill you. And this is interesting. This is actually a different kind of environment than I'm used to seeing. Now the question is that how hosed am I? Are all these people just going to actually kill me? But you can see I do have a little bit better range up here. But everyone's just firing on this guy right away. Because that's what you do. So let's go ahead and just try and occupy as much stuff as we can. Go ahead and let's stun you because your shield's down and they're trying to run. So if we can just have everybody target you, that would be lovely. I can actually move you back here. Yeah, my vehicle is just getting obliterated up front right now. I'm sure there's some more optimal strategies I can do for this, but I can EMP and have that thing die more than likely, so we're not going to concern ourselves as much with that. As long as it stays stunned long enough. Because I can actually box it in right here, perhaps. Yeah, I'm taking just... Okay, here's some visual bugs that you get in this game as well. Like, this vehicle hasn't caught up with where its marker is. Now it's going to try. But the important thing is, see, you can run into there and die. I don't think that's going to run into anything and die. But as long as we can kind of stop the bleeding here before too long. This is where having a third vehicle can make such a huge difference. And my EMP is actually going to be up in time again, so we may be able to pin this guy down too. Very important and useful strategy. Because you're just going to run everybody into your death. The risk that you run, of course, is that there's going to be another environmental hazard pops up right here, and then everybody just dies. But encounter dead there without having to use too much oomph, and shield mark 1 is very nice. In fact, I think I'm going to go back to the store and just equip that now. But yeah, that was actually my first time I've had a fight in urban combat. As weird as that may sound. So 41 scrap. Now this is a support module, so only this ship can equip it. But shield's very important for defense, so any other repairs that we need right now. I mean, it's 5 repairs for this, this, and this. That's just full repair. We're going to be sticking around this camp for just a little bit, because farming is a thing, and it's pretty important. Now, the reason I'm staying close to the roads as well is that I remember I gave 40 fuel for not a lot of stuff. And actually, there's another camp right there. So let's see. We'll go ahead and investigate that camp as well. But as you're driving along the road, you see several gruesome heads upon pikes. We're not going to be intimidated, and blood-spattered vehicles appear out of nowhere. And these are raiders. You'll see that they have, I don't know really the tendencies for some of these different things, kind of like an FTL where rock cruisers are always going to have missiles, and advanced edition slug vehicles have mind control and stuff like that. But I have noticed that raiders like landmines a little bit more, so this is probably a landmine if it's not just like scrap crap. So I want to improve these guys' range eventually, because this short range combat stuff is a little tough. Let's go ahead and at least start this, and you can probably hear dog drinking water in the background because that's fun. But yeah, just basic combat here. I don't know if there's a great way to actually say, okay, is somebody targeting somebody without having just the no target or out of range icon approaching, but this guy should be toast. I'm trying to keep these guys' attention occupied so that I don't have a lot of stuff going on there, so we'll see. I can probably get this guy to take a little bit of damage. There we go, so stun right there. That's where the EMP is really nice. So 51 damage, he'll actually die if I can. I could potentially ram him up. So shield down. This vehicle is suddenly a lot beefier. Oh wow, you're actually going to go into the death trap. Maybe, maybe not. Alright. But yeah, pretty straightforward combat here, just still. Not really in range, but... And we get 32 parts 10 fuel, and we take the loot, and we move on. Like I said, just lots of little random encounters. And broadcasting, and sometimes you get some of these little yellow events as well, where they won't necessarily have a fight right away. There's a decrepit shutter Semaphore tower, let's investigate it. And the power tubes in a large number of Murray 6-shutter optical telegraphs. I'm sure that's some reference I'm not getting. Let's look for loot, and it says GNU Terry Pratchett. Not sure who GNU Terry Pratchett is. It would be possible to take apart, although you're not sure if you should. Let's take it apart anyway. We need the parts, we get 110. Because we're about to hit a store, damn it. Oh wow, there's like 3 camps all interspersed right here. So that's pretty good, because we're going to be very low on fuel here. And we're actually at the top of the map. This isn't a map that wraps all the way around here, but let's see what's at the shop first. Oh, okay, so we have another possible vehicle that we can get that comes with a Ballistic computer, it just doesn't come with a weapon. Shield MK3 is nice. I just don't have a lot of things that can equip it, so I'd like to buy this vehicle. I'm just going to need to get another weapon somewhere to actually make it work. Aid is actually pretty nice. Actually, you know what? If I get this weapon in the aid, I don't necessarily need that. Let's see here. I gotta buy fuel first. Maybe I can get a better vehicle here. It's pretty... We're just gonna try and have the sexy thing of getting 4 vehicles up here. So buy this, and we're out of money. But if we go over here, do we have anything we can sell off of you? Not really. Not really, although you do need repairs. Okay, so we're gonna put the 8 on you, and this is going to be our ramming speed vehicle, which I don't have the parts to really fix it up just yet. I like the shield on you. This is pretty good. Can I sell the ballistic? I can actually sell the ballistics computer for 20. That's not a terrible idea. Because I don't actually have any ballistics weapons. Although long distance targeting vectors improving a unit's range. So, range is just pretty nice anyway. So it's not just regarding missiles and everything. It's just a flat range bonus. May hold on to that for now. We don't have anything pressing at this shop to buy, other than we'll remember it has a shield, which is really nice. The shield MK3, much better than the other MK of shields, but we're going to need to get some more encounters, and we're going to need to get some more fuel. And here's an encounter. And it's raiders, and they're going to try and kill us. And this is, like I said, this is the slowest ramming vehicle ever. But we're going to be really aggressive with it. Because the aid, like I said before, it lets you ram things without taking damage. So if I target you, for instance, and that little vehicle's not a great target because it's just so fast. This one might be better. Can I ram you? Boom. Yeah, so I gotta move him a little bit. And you gotta wait a little bit of time before you can ram again. He's boxed in, so you're not going anywhere. Yeah, just like that. So much damage. Melee combat's really nice. There's actually some achievements for succeeding in melee combat all the time. I wonder how no pause challenge with this game though. Probably pretty freaking brutal. Alright. Okay, we don't want you going all the way up there. Let's actually pause. Take our time just a little bit more, because the last thing I want is like some skulls. Okay, all the skulls are down there. We're going over here. Okay, for some reason my mouse is just acting up all of a sudden. Hang on. I don't know if there's like something on the floor. There we go. We're much better with the mouse now. Alright. So this is Convoy. Like I said, it's a neat game. Don't go into it expecting it just to be FTL. It's you got to take it kind of on its own merits. There's some elements where you have little responses like this. Surprisingly, the raiders start to cheer enough channels. Famous performance, splendid display. Jolly good work. Finally, the worthy challenge for the great Sir King Killer, the educated. And let's respond. We speak of chess, of course, the greatest sport known to educated elites. So, Sir King Killer, the educated, lacks a worthy opponent for quite some time, leaving us a spot of bother. Pray, show your valiant skills as the battlefield commander of the battlefield of chess. Let's accept. Okay, wonderful. Proceed to the game. Battleground for the rival ideology. Slug out the glee. Pray, what will be the best man win? So, do we move the pawn? Do we move the knight or flip the board in rage? I'm going to move the pawn. And so we're actually playing text-based chess. He moves a knight. Let's go for the 4-move checkmate. Move a bishop. The educator looks thoughtful for a moment before making his next move. He moves the knight. Consider your next move. Move the queen. And he thinks before making the next move, and we're going to move the queen again. We're going to go for the 4-move checkmate. I don't know. Why haven't I flipped this board yet? Sir King Killer, the educator, face chills as your bone. He glares stonily at you to leave. It turns out you weren't the worthy adversary he was looking for. When it's just move the piece, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. You want to move. I was going for the 4-move checkmate, but apparently that's not great. Let's see what's at the store at least. I'm at 14 fuel, which is a big problem. So we may have to sell the ballistics computer anyway, but let's see what's at the shop. Weapons! Heavy rocket artillery is a really good weapon. Heavy pulse laser, this is a fantastic weapon shop. Unfortunately, I don't have. I'm going to have to sell this for fuel. That's too bad. because fuel is expensive. But that's a really good store. But yeah, the strength of your opponents is determined kind of by the shading in these areas, and we're at the top of the map again, so we're going to have to be kind of careful here. So if we get into some of these dark areas, we're going to have really strong opponents. Alright, so a large number of raiders are gathered here. It seems to be some sort of violent event. Let's hear it out. And Destruction Derby, step right up. Let's bring it on. Oh, good. We like your spirit. Choose your vehicle and enter Thunderdome. That's an obvious reference. And what do we want to do here? Focus on evading, hit and run, or full on aggression. Let's do full on aggression. And we blast every vehicle. Unfortunately, your car suffers a hit by an opponent, which of course it's the looter. And unfortunately, your car suffers another hit. Wow, so all of our things are in the Destruction Derby. And we get a prize. Yay, 70. Alright, so there are a lot of... we have a bunch of camps that are nearby. I guess I need to focus a little bit on it. I've just been running around at the top of the map here. We have some actual objectives that we need to meet. And I've just been trying to farm some parts just a little bit. Let's get back on the road. Alright, so there's a wreck by the side of the road surrounded by gore. Let's investigate it, and you discover several discarded pieces of clothing belonging to the mother's family. There's no sign of where the raiders probably took her. Let's bury these people. And that's it. I'm sure there's some random event that says, oh, by the way, you're going to get owned. But yeah, we're at the top of the corner of the map again. Alright, so we just wasted some fuel going around there. I've never actually run out of fuel in this game on easy, so we may be finding out in just a minute what happens when you run out of fuel. But let's see here. You hear an explosion, and we're taking damage, and these roads aren't safe. Alright, so we have our convoy of 4. We have our vehicles that are kind of not in great shape, and we're getting approached from the back. So let's go ahead and turn you down. Okay, I can't ram you because you're fast, but you can tell here that the ships are just a little bit more advanced than maybe before. We want to focus our shots just a little bit more. Okay, so we can ram him again. We can just keep ramming the crap out of you, because you've pinned yourself at the bottom of this map. Alright, so you guys are targeting. Your target's out of range, so we'll fire on you. And this thing's just going to keep ramming as hard as possible. Okay, armor's gone all of a sudden. There we go. 50 more damage, so pretty good. Taking a lot of hits from that vehicle on this guy, so we're going to have to watch it. Alright. Let's see if we can get some ramming speed activated here again. Alright. We should be okay in this fight. Yeah, you're not actually going to escape. I don't want to ram into that, so he's just going to be running to the wall there. Not the best AI moment in history. But what do we got here? I feel like I'm on the precipice of disaster with this run, if only because I used my stuff very inefficiently at the beginning, so there we go. We do get some more fuel, so we're not running out of fuel yet. Where's the nearest camp again? 99 kilometers that way, so it's going to be a camp we've already been to. And that's the thing where I've just got to repair. Repair. We're actually going to skip that. We'll go down to this event here. No, actually running out of fuel. Alright, you drive around the abandoned city, you realize this always streets would be perfect for an ambush location. And there's no ambush. Okay, we got to go here just to see if there's some fuel to be had. And free trading ahead. Let's follow the directions. And there's a trader on the road. Ask about the free trading. One of the merchants says you are free to trade anything here, explaining mostly a marketing trick. And right now we really need our weapons to defend ourselves, so you can buy one of these if you're so inclined. Heavy railgun's fun. Minigun's fun. Light MG's not great, but I need an extra weapon to equip to some of my vehicles anyway, so we'll get it, assuming we can get to a store. But I do kind of want to see what happens when you run out of fuel, because I've not done that before in this game. So we're out of fuel. You spot a Descon distance, seems to be a traveling caravan. They appear to have hired privateers to attack them, and attacking them with little fuel you have left would be nigh impossible. Let's radio them. Greetings, we're part of the KGL Trading Company. Heard of your emergency broadcast. We understand you ran out of fuel. I didn't make an emergency broadcast. That is, this is not terrible fuel prices. It's not great, but we'll buy 30 for 45. So there we go. Running out of fuel, not the end of the world, at least yet. I mean, we can't really run or anything, but there we go. There's a signal appears to be coming from a massive, old, overgrown football stadium set in the middle of a desolate desert. The stadium looms as you feel increasingly insignificant. Let's investigate inside. And inside, you see several statues of football players. You suspect they are local legends. Eventually, you arrive at the vomitorium to the field. That's interesting. Looking inside, you want to see the center stadium's lined with jerseys and spears. Let's head into the field. As you pass the jerseys, you begin smelling rotten flesh. On a closer inspection, they appear to have all rotting torsos inside them. That's beautiful. Upon reaching the middle of the field, you instantly feel a change in temperature in the general field. Despite standing in the middle of the field in an enormous empty stadium, there felt more closed in, and its eyes everywhere staring at you, staring through you, burning you up. And as you leave, you see a shadow move. Let's chase it. Fail to catch the shadow, it's too quick and the hallways get confusing. After hours of searching, you come to the exit of the field and find several tribals wearing football jerseys, dead in the grass. Eventually you reach your convoy and prepare to leave this place. So, no fight, no combat there, but I think this is a decent time to at least stop this for now. I'm going to be trying to continue this run next time, although we are definitely at the mercy of our fuel total right now. So, like I said, this is a fun game. It's interesting. It's very different from FTL. If you're looking for something that's like, it itches your FTL itch, I mean, it's good in that there's random choices and everything like that. It's good that there's a world that you get to explore and you can kind of loop and double back on, so you don't have the pressure of the rebel fleet chasing you all the time. And that's kind of a strength of it too, is that you just kind of get to go around the world. If you want to farm a little bit, you can farm a little bit. But the RNG, at least from what I've seen so far, can really, really be tough. Or maybe I just haven't figured out some of the game systems yet. Sometimes you can get a really fast start and start early. But you can see here, I haven't even been to the point where I'm trying to get some of these quest events going on yet. Because you can start and gun for those right away. But no, right now I'm just at a point where I'm trying to build up my group a little bit. So maybe next time we can do a little bit more of this convoy action. And we'll see if I can, A, get some fuel, B, try and start getting some parts together to repair the ship, because easy, like I said before, not particularly easy, and I for one like it. We'll see if the RNG makes me change my mind later, but for now I do recommend Convoy. I've played it for a few hours so far, have not won yet, so there's still some nice challenges to unveil and unpeel. But thanks for watching. Feel free to like or subscribe if you like what you saw. Feel free to comment if you've checked out the game yourself, or if you had early access, tell me a little bit about your impressions and how the game's changed since early access. Would be very interested to hear from you. But thanks for watching. Take care.